Coming up next in the Retirement Halftime Show, you may not have to give up going to the coffee shop. We're breaking down some of the biggest financial myths. Then, using passive income streams to fund your retirement. It doesn't have to be just dividend stocks. Also, Andrea Morehead reports on how Colts legend is using his retirement from football to change student behavior in the classroom and making sure the ups outweighs the downs. Advice from IU men's basketball coach Mike Woodson that's good for the court and the markets. Now, on the Retirement Halftime Show.
You wouldn't play a game the second half the same way you would the first, especially if you had the lead. This is the Retirement Halftime Show, helping you maintain your lead in retirement.
Welcome to the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm Heather McWilliams. Joining us is Alexander Joyce with Rejoice Financial. Alex, it seems when we're talking about finances, everyone has an opinion. Sure. I want to go through some of these kind of old wives' tales, and you tell me if they are fact or fiction.
That's fun.
Okay,
sure.
All right. The first one, giving up daily coffee purchases are a financial game changer. And I'm afraid of your answer here because I love coffee. You might hurt my feelings.
Yeah, I don't think, giving up, again, my opinion,
yes.
Right? Killing all the joy in your life in order to save every single penny. I think there should be comfortable outlets. Of course, if you feel guilty about doing something like that and it's taking away from something that you could be saving for, whether that be short-term or long-term goals, right? I don't think that if it comes down to making coffee decisions. Now, of course, when we look at $5 times 7 days times a week times 4 weeks times, the year, if you will, because there's some things that are, difficult, or there's some things that are tough to give up, and some things that, again, derail an overall financial plan. I don't think sometimes, in some cases, coffee is that significant, if you will.
Okay, thank you for that answer. I love that.
I love my coffee.
How about this next one? They say having a financial advisor only benefits the wealthy.
I don't believe that. That's one I'm more than opinionating. My opinion goes far on that one, being an advisor. But I think that people that are more mature in life feel like it's too late. People that are too young feel like they're too young.
Right.
People right in the middle don't think it's a good time. In fact, there's never a good time to do anything, right? And so this is one that most people very often procrastinate on. And I think that we are our own worst enemy because the expectation is not really managed up front. I think the big thing that the Department of Labor has really tried to do, in my opinion, is create more transparency when it comes to cost. And I think that that's the number one reason people don't choose or take that leap of faith to work with an advisor, because they think that maybe their stuff is messy, or they don't think that they have it all together.
Yeah.
They don't think they've saved enough. And I think more than anything, they don't know the cost. And so we want to get in front of that.
Yeah, because there are so many different fee models.
There are. And so I think that when it comes to us, working with a fee-only advisor and a fiduciary firm, holistic, I think makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Monitoring the stock market daily. Should we be doing this?
I think your advisor should be doing that.
Okay.
And I think that the reason your advisor should be doing that is because you've hired them to shift that responsibility, if you will, away from yourself. Yeah. I think when you look at your money, it is very personal and it's very emotional. And I think that still some people want to get into the weeds of that, of all of that stuff, if you will. But generally, when we work with an advisor, and again, I always say that we're not a right fit for everybody, and everybody's not a right fit for us. And I think that when we build models and plans, if you will, the philosophy, Heather, is that we want to build a plan that we can rely on, a roadmap that we can trust, a direction that we can manage along the way. And I think that the philosophy being plan first, invest later, invest into the plan. Nobody goes out of the driveway to go to Florida and just takes a left, right? They kind of have a roadmap and a designed angle of which they're going to get there. Of course, many people do it over and over. It becomes very repetitious. So does a plan. But we have to manage and we have to review along the way, because there is something certain in life, Heather, and life is going to change.
Yeah, it always changes. There's always emotions involved. You listen to the news one day and it's like rumors, innuendo, like, what do? I'm going to pull my money out.
Right.
Just relax, right? Let the professionals handle
That's
it.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Can money make you happy? Money makes you happy. That's what people say.
That's what people say. I've met people that are very free, and they don't have a lot of money. But I tell you what they have is they have in their hearts, they have freedom because their accomplishments with what they have, which is happiness, made them free. Yeah. And sometimes when I think and I look at that, it's like, well, you need money to do that. But I think some people that if they got a couple of kids, or they got 4 kids and they're debt free and their education's paid for and they got a couple of grandkids and the fireplace is burning around Christmas and they have all the family there, that's joy. And that's inner freedom. And I think that that is life work, and that's what we want to do, is set people free, whether that's financially or whether that's inner freedom. We just want their hearts to be whole and full. Yeah,
having that security is peace of mind, and I think that's something you cannot put a dollar amount on it. Right.
I agree.
As always, Alex, great information, and be sure to stick around because we have a whole lot coming up next.
Coming up next on the Retirement Halftime Show, Andrea Morehead reports on the former football player who's using his retirement to help students struggling with life's challenges. Then, using dividends to fund your retirement lifestyle, what you need to know about passive income streams. This is the Retirement Halftime Show.
Retirement isn't a game to lose. Follow Alexander Joyce in the Rejoice Financial Playbook to win in retirement. Call 317-903-9157 and schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit now.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
Rejoice Financial gives back with Andrea Morehead, highlighting the people and organizations making life better in our community.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today, of course, is Andrea. She is our community impact anchor, and some really cool stuff. I mean, what you're doing, it's amazing. You did an interview recently with legendary, retired Colts player. Kind of tell us and walk us through that. How'd that come about, and what does that look like?
Well, Marlin Jackson, right? We all remember that play in 2007 when he got the interception, and we didn't think we were going to even win the AFC Championship. But during that fourth quarter, that interception took us to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And so imagine this football player who has been through so much in his own personal life, and he is allowing himself to use his personal experience in life, things that he did and did not do properly in life, to help kids in our own community.
Cool as that.
And he calls it Fight for Life. He wants kids to fight for life by changing their behavior in the classroom. Take a look. You guys were down. But Coach Tony Dungy's halftime locker room chat.
He came in and he told us, men, we have them right where we want them. We're going to go out, we're going to go to score, we're going to get a field goal, we're going to tie the game up, we're going to take the lead, we're going to win this game.
Gave the Colts the fight to keep pushing in the AFC Championship game in 2007. And it was like moment after moment after moment. It just felt good, and you guys were making strides. And then you get the interception, and you take us to the Super Bowl in 2007. Jackson says studying their opponent prepared him for perhaps what many say is the greatest play of his football career.
Understanding formation and recognizing that, and then having the ability to be able to process things very quickly in the moment.
Now he's using sports lessons to help children win in the classroom. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Come on now, come on.
Those 5
Your
P's,
parents
that's
told you
right.
that one too. Jackson is founder of the nonprofit Fight for Life, focusing on the social, emotional, and behavioral health of students.
Especially our children that are growing up in trauma, that are growing up in poverty, and understanding the effects that has on our brain, that has on our decision making, that has on our consequences and our outcomes and our relationships. Like, I feel like it's my duty.
Born from what he calls an upbringing in a dysfunctional family, Jackson knows early intervention in schools makes a positive difference.
So being able to identify when am I getting elevated, to be able to express what am I feeling, but to be able to articulate this to their teachers, to their counselors. And what this has done is enable those counselors to see exactly where a student is and to meet them where they are. So we can be trauma informed and we can be healing centered.
This intentional focus gives them specific data to share with administrators.
This teacher is struggling with these specific behaviors in their classroom. This teacher has this level of adverse childhood experiences in their classroom. So then we know who needs what support.
Their mission has been working, since 2007.
In one of our sites, a 25% decrease year over year in a reduction of school suspensions. And then we've seen an increase in the ability of students to express themselves socially and emotionally.
I know there are many of them, but is there one that just stands out to you that you just go, this is why I'm doing this work?
The part for me was to hear from Javion himself, right, where he's explaining what social emotional learning is and how he now says that I have more self-control, right, over myself in the classroom. For me, those are the big wins, is to hear a child express how this is impacting them.
They feel as if, well, where's my voice?
I don't have a voice.
I don't have a voice.
I'm not seeing.
Yes, I'm not seeing. I have feelings too. And yet, as adults, we need to recognize that and to really meet them where they are in a way and in a tone that they can respond and react to in a positive way.
You said in a way and in a tone.
Capital T-O-N-E. Fight for Life also partners with youth development organizations, summer learning programs, and community centers. And your service as a volunteer would be appreciated.
Every month during the school year, we're taking kids to the Children's Museum. We're going to the living room theater at the Bottle Works. We're going to recreational trampoline experiences. We're going to the Indianapolis Zoo. We need chaperones for all of that. We have our Be a Blessing holiday initiatives, right, where we're having toy drives. You know, we're having Christmas parties. We need volunteers to come and read stories at story time, to do arts and crafts with students in the classroom. And you see the smiles, right? And then you see the moment of creating a lifelong memory. And then what I know is that when you are in adverse circumstances, that is your fuel to keep going. It's to have that positive experience. It's to have that recreational, enriching moment that adds value to my life and value to myself, that I see what's possible. You can be a part of those experiences and you can see when those light bulbs go off.
Shining a positive light in the community is his life's passion.
Well, I get just a little chill when I think about it. Because it's just purpose, and it's all God directed.
Also driven by his post-NFL life as a husband and father of 3 boys, led by faith.
But I'm grateful that he chose me, and I just see that, I know that there's more. And that's what excites me the most, is that it's just the beginning.
As the Colts start a new chapter with a new quarterback, Jackson's next plays off the field include cornering more community services to assist more families.
Once we scale up our technology, we will fund and fuel our own community development work that we're going to do. And that's where retirement is getting to that utopia, and it's creating an economic engine and creating housing and creating education within communities.
That's a freedom.
It is. Rejoice.
Rejoice. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. We thank Marlin so much for sharing his personal story and how he's touching thousands of children's lives right here in the Central Indiana community. And if you want to learn more about his organization, just go to our website at rejoicefinancial.com/Andrea.
And Andrea, it's so awesome what you're doing out there with the community. And I mean, it's just the response has been overwhelming. People love you, of course. We're blessed to have you a part of our team as our community impact anchor. You watch the Retirement Halftime Show. Stick around. There's more show to come.
Still ahead, IU basketball coach Mike Woodson says the only way to win on the court and in life is to build a great culture. His advice on what it takes to create one.
Call 317-903-9157 to schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit to get your retirement game plan in order. Retirement isn't a game to lose. Your financial future hinges on every play. Follow Alexander Joyce in the Rejoice Financial Playbook to score the points that set you up for life. Win at retirement by calling 317-903-9157 and schedule a no-cost, no-obligation visit to get your retirement game plan in order. Don't lose where it counts the most. Call 317-903-9157 to schedule a visit now.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show. I'm your host, Alexander Joyce, and with me today, Joel Parody, advisor here at Rejoice Financial. Been with the team for a long time, and really excited to share these topics with you, because you know, when it comes to leaning on our team for investment support, or that team, if you would, I mean, you are really a guy that I can trust to have the answers quick, right? Because when someone asks me a question, we need to have the question. They want the answer pretty quick, right? And so walking down the hall and going in your office with your team is fortuitous. And so first and foremost, I really appreciate it. Now, when we talk about passive income streams from a plan, right? When we talk about income foundations, we think of like Social Security, a pension if you have one, maybe in the left hand, but then in the right hand, we talk about lifestyle. And so if your income foundation is, let's say, $40,000 a year, but your income lifestyle is $100,000 a year, there's a big $60,000 a year gap, right? You can either fulfill it yourself and take on the risk, right, up to your family, if you will, or you can shift that risk away and hire an advisor. Hope we're the advisor that takes on that battle, right? We've won, we're consistent, and we're really good at it. Now, when we build these plans, of course, being a fiduciary firm, we have the ability to do it from multiple angles, whether that's building a portfolio of high yielding dividend stocks, which I'm sure you could speak really highly of. I think we have a flagship portfolio, something like what? I mean, pretty high, isn't it?
Yeah, looking around 10% right now.
I mean, that's a strong dividend, right? When we think about how does that work and having someone be able to sweep that type of dividend at that number, if you will, 10% is a big number from a dividend standpoint, not a growth, right? And nothing that we ever say is guaranteed. I think that is first and foremost. That's one way, building a portfolio that has high yielding dividends that someone can take to their pocket, right? Of course, we understand that having a tax team to understand the tax implications behind that is extremely important. Other ways that people consider would be, this big term that's being thrown around now, but the banks are offering these high yield savings accounts, right? And I understand that probably is more of a liquidity play. I think liquidity in retirement is everything, right? You may build the bathroom you never had. You may build the kitchen or remodel that you never had. And I think that going inside of your portfolio, you deserve to be able to have the things you never had because you've retired, you've saved all this wealth. You treat yourself, don't cheat yourself. Now, the advisor's responsibility is to do their best to put that money back or support what you're trying to do from a again, liquidity and growth standpoint. Now, having a high yield savings account, in my personal opinion, is a good thing, right? But using it from an income stream passively, I don't think is always the best. People throw around this other thing called annuities, right? Yeah. And you're very familiar with that. I mean, annuities from an income standpoint, annuity means pension. I think if someone doesn't have a pension, using something like a fixed or a fixed indexed annuity to support some growth long term, but then give a lifetime income stream could work. But just like dividend and just like stocks, just like ETFs, just like anything, listen, nothing works if it doesn't work, right? All this stuff that is accessible to really any advisor and anybody, none of it works if there's not a plan to support it. If we don't know what a goal is, a passive income portfolio doesn't mean anything. Right. If we don't have a direction or a financial plan, having an annuity doesn't do anything, right? When people walk in our office and they have a statement, no offense, but we call it a pile of money, we generally ask them, we say, out of this pile of money, out of this statement, which piece are you going to take income from first? They usually point at that one. I say, why that one? You know what they're saying? Because it's the largest. I say, that's not a plan. That's a pile of money. And I want people to understand the power behind working with a firm like ours when we're looking at every piece of it. We're looking at the whole plan in its entirety. So we can paint the blank canvas and make it a Picasso because everybody is different and we all have challenges, especially when we start looking at estate planning and legacy planning, right? And so building the whole plan and having income to support it where you have a paycheck that you can rely on. Then we create the playcheck that you can have fun with. When we build that and we show people the power behind that and we launch it out in the future and show them they're not going to outlive their money. They deserve to do the things they want to do. That's ultimate freedom. Yeah. All right, Joel. I appreciate it, Joel. Watch the Retirement Halftime Show, folks. Stay tuned. There's more show to come.
Next on the Retirement Halftime Show, making sure the ups outweigh the downs. Mike Woodson shares his advice on winning on the court, in money matters, and in life. Don't let anxiety ruin your retirement. Get a second opinion about your current plan. Call the experts at Rejoice Financial today at 317-903-9157 and see if you're on the right track.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
Planning to win. Coaching strategies for financial success. Here's Alexander Joyce and Indiana University men's basketball head coach, Mike Woodson.
You see it as viewers, right? But we don't know the grind that goes into it, right? I mean, how exhausting, and what does that grind look like? I mean, travel, practice, dedication, training. What does that momentum look like in that planning phase going into that game?
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
A lot of work.
Yes, sir.
Being back in college is the recruiting process, where you win some and you lose some. Right. It's a part of what you deal with as a coach. But once you win, then you got to put things in motion. Right. And, I've been able to put a team along with my staff because I'm new at this college game. I was called rookie, many a times last season. And I let my coaches know now that I've graduated. I'm not a rookie this year.
Right, that's right.
Even though I've been coaching a long time, but it's a process, man. Because once you put the pieces in place, you got to go to work, and there's a lot of things that come along with how you build your team, and I always believe the quicker you can get 12, which is NBA, 17, college, the quicker you can get those guys moving in the same direction. Right. And no hang-ups, no hidden agendas, everybody pulling for one another.
Right. What does that culture look like? When you're building that culture, well, it's got to be strong.
It's got to be strong. I mean, that's the only way you're going to win.
That's right.
And I'm talking about winning at a high level. I mean, you could win and be marginal.
Sure, be good.
But I'm talking about trying to win a Big Ten title, a national title.
That's right.
And it takes a lot of patience and a lot of work behind the scene that you as fans and media people and just sports people in general that watch sports, you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes.
Sure.
I've been doing this a long time, man. I mean, you figure 34 years in the NBA, high school, elementary school, college. I've only been on one team. And when I say that team was special, that was the Detroit Pistons. Okay. We had no problems, zero. Mm-hmm. That just does not happen in any sporting world.
Right.
We had no problems. So that year was meant to be. I tell Larry Brown all the time, you're the luckiest coach in the world. You're a great coach, but you're the luckiest coach too, because you experienced no problems that year, and you won an NBA title.
That's right.
So if you can eliminate, because it's a roller coaster ride, if you can eliminate the downs when you building a team, and it's the same in your world. Yeah. If you can eliminate the downs and make sure that the ups outweigh the downs, your chances of being successful is very high. Is very high.
That's right. That's right. That's interesting you say that. Eliminate the downs, right? And because a lot of when we have volatile markets like these, and this won't be the last one, right? We have interest rate of inflation of almost 9%. We have cost of living adjustments on Social Security of over 8%, highest in 40 years. We have volatile markets. We have interest rates that are coming off of 40-year lows. And now we have Fed, what's called quantitative easing, which is planned. And people say, Alex, would you call this a recession, right? They say, Alex, what do you do with this type of inflation environment where people are needing to make their lifestyles whole from their portfolio? Or what do you do in situations like this where, the NASDAQ is approaching a 3-year low, where people had set to retire this year, and now they're taking back 3 years, and they gave these 3 years to maybe go from 62 to 65 when they're thinking about taking their Social Security benefits, and they wanted that extra income, and now the market takes it from them, right? Or they go from 66 to close to 70 because they want the 8% compounding factor on their Social Security, or they have kids in college, or they are planning for kids in college. I mean, it's very, very difficult. And as you said, right, I mean, when we look at volatile markets, it's all about long game, isn't it? It's all about you can't really focus on today, right? And we ask our clients, how often are you looking at your statements? And some are looking at them every moment, every day, right? But when you're investing, as you are, you're in this for the long game.
Absolutely.
Right? Do your players, they have to understand that as well, right? They are in this.
Well, I think they do, Alex. But again, it's a short window. You're talking about in college 4 years. And, COVID allowed some of these players to be able to revisit, come back,
Sure.
and be a part of a program like Race Thompson. He's in his 5th year.
Mm-hmm.
And, COVID has allowed that to happen. But you basically are looking at 4 years, and some of these guys, if you're good enough, it could be a 1 or 2 years and you're gone, to the next level. So you have a short window frame to really get where you need to go.
That's right.
And hope that you leave an imprint on these guys before they leave, because that next journey is when it really starts, I think. When you leave college and you go out into the workplace, may it be professionally in sports or just everyday work, that's when life starts. You prepare in college to put yourself in whatever position it may be.
It's a career.
Yeah, it is a career. But the real work starts when you go out into the workforce, and now you got to figure out the rest of your life. And
that's true.
And as you mentioned, times are tough, man.
Yeah.
For young people.
They are.
It really is. I look at racism. I look at the job market. It's just a lot of things that can trip a young, man or woman up, man, if you're not, strong and ready and prepared.
That's right.
So, as I'm mentoring and coaching and being a father figure, there's a lot of hats that I wear.
That's right.
As a college coach, I want guys to, first and foremost, to remember me for trying to help them and guide them in directions that they can be successful. That's what's important to me. It ain't about me. It's about these young men that I'm coaching, man. That's what it's about.
It is true. It is. That is true.
Hoping to have enough income to last through retirement isn't a strategy. It's a recipe for failure. Everyone needs a tangible plan. Rejoice Financial can help you get on the right path. Come in for a visit and let's discuss what's going on with your financial well-being. We're an inclusive team that won't offer judgment, only ideas on how to make your money work for you. Give us a call at 317-903-9157. Let us help you rejoice in retirement.
You're watching the Retirement Halftime Show, powered by Rejoice Financial.
Thank you for watching the Retirement Halftime Show. If you have questions about today's show, give us a call, send us a text, or go to our website. Most importantly, maintain your lead in retirement. I'm Alexander Joyce, and I'll see you next time.